Hello, everybody, and welcome to podcast number 71 of The Real Estate Show. I'm Cherise Selley. With me is Shawna Uehling. We are part of Selley Group Real Estate. And Shawna, it's so good to have you back for this year.
I know. Crazy.
It's been a little while. We've missed you, and we have now sprung. Spring has sprung in this marketplace.
It's springing.
It is. And we're bringing it, right?
Yes, we are.
Even nature's bringing it a little bit.
I know, finally.
You were mentioning that because this move to Northgate, like you're not familiar with what all the animal activity is in a neighborhood until you actually live there, right?
It's true.
So you saw some things about ducks this morning before you came here that we probably don't need to go into a lot of detail in, but
let's just say it's mating season.
It may have scarred you for a while.
I felt like I was interrupting something.
And just to take your dog on a walk, right? You're like, what do? I can't hide.
I'm like, I don't think I should look over there.
And some things cannot be unseen in the animal kingdom, right?
I'm forever scarred.
Oh, no. Oh, man. So let's dive into the numbers a little bit. And we're shooting this podcast, and it's a little bit around the middle of April timeframe. We have March's stats because we fulfilled the whole month of March for El Paso County. And I want to go over what's happening. What in the heck is happening?
What is happening?
That's so much. So much stuff. 7 days history as of yesterday. As of April 12th, we had 276 new listings that came on the market in that 7-day period. 202 price decreases. So it's kind of neat that we're seeing a little bit more of a ratio of new listings versus price decreases.
Yeah.
Because that was actually, there were more price decreases than new listings for quite a while. And 302 homes sold within that 7-day period. So more solds than new listings coming. In fact, we are at a 10-month or so low with inventory still. So we're running into that, which brings the demand back up.
Right. Which I've noticed in the last 2 weeks with the properties I've been involved with.
Yes.
The last 2 weekends, I was in multiple offer situations in lower price points, but
okay. Were you working with a buyer?
Yeah.
Okay. So multiple offers, and did you find that they probably went well over the list price, or?
I wasn't horribly over, but nevertheless over. So in both cases, my guys didn't want to compete with that. So one we actually offered on, one we decided not to, but I was a little surprised. And one of them was a house being sold as is. So that even surprised me more.
Wow.
Multiple offers in that situation.
As is.
Yep.
So it's interesting, though. This is the dynamic that's different from last year, is that you have clients that didn't go all in. Mm-hmm. They said they had kind of the stopping point.
Oh, yeah.
And they listened to that.
Mm-hmm. You have to. Interest rates are talking.
They are. Money actually speaks, doesn't it?
I mean, you only can do what you're qualified for. And those, a lot of people's monthlies are just so up there that, you really even have to check with the lender before you're even thinking of going over because, some of the time with the rates being what they are, you can be over what you're qualified for pretty quick.
Isn't that true? Mm-hmm. And so I think that's so important. And I saw it on the other side of a deal during Easter weekend where I predicted that it might be a little bit of a slowdown in activity that weekend.
Which usually it is.
I know. But instead, we had 4 offers on a townhome that I had listed in Briargate.
Yeah.
And 3 out of the 4 were pretty well above list price. I was not expecting kind of the flurry that we had over the weekend. And so it was really interesting in that dynamic too. One of the lender letters, though, I will say, was dated June of 2022.
Huh.
That doesn't help.
Well, you might want to update that.
So that's what I required of each offer was to see a current lender letter. And if the date was that far away, I mean, that's not current.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
do you think part of the reason why that property in particular went into multiple offers was because the state it was in as far as being very updated and kind of turnkey? Did that help?
very much. I think that it drove that over the price because we're actually pretty high above comps. So the next discussion with the seller is, yes, we did get something that we don't see every day, which is multiple offers in this market. In this, our new normal is not always to have multiple offers.
Right.
But we are seeing them sometimes. And if you see them, though, we still have to get through that appraisal time. And a buyer in this market is less likely to bring an appraisal difference than they were last year, at the early part of last year, simply because they need that cash for their loan, for their payment, for their financing.
And their buy down rates.
Yes, 100%. So in fact, for that townhome, we were doing the math, and the payment for the same loan amount that would be there, it was like a $275 loan amount or so, $600 more than what the interest rate that my clients who were selling, and they had gotten one of the better interest rates at 2.75 at the time.
Yeah.
So payments are like $600 more.
Yeah. It's a big difference.
It is. So yes, the market is sizzling, and part of that is because, let me go back into the stats because I think this will speak into what we're talking about. New listings. So this is very interesting. We really have a down market for new listings right now as far as new inventory, down 22.9% from March of 22.
That's a lot.
So we have a lot less listings. We have right now 1,414 listings on the market. We're up, though, from 976 listings, which we had in February. So we're up like 44% from then, but we're still down from last year. So we have less listings. And what's also interesting is that sales are lower this year than last year. So even though we are new listings, are what they are, we really need people to understand that the sales, let's talk about sales in March, 1,075 versus February, which were 778. So sales are up 33% from February to March, but they're down 21% from March 22, where it was 1,361 sales versus 1,075.
And they're sitting on the market a lot longer too.
They are, but a lot longer, Shawna. It's so funny.
Like 30 days.
Yeah, exactly.
So long.
All relative. So this morning I was talking to some sellers, and we're going to be in that, 1.3 to 1.4 range on a home. So I did this analysis for all of School District 38 area, going up north from Monument into Black Forest. The average days on the market for the homes that came up that were their comparison, 27 days.
Yeah.
Even in that price range.
Yeah, that's still good.
So it is. It doesn't, but there are a couple of them that are there, and you were talking about condition earlier. One of them, it just, the layout isn't great, and the condition isn't wow. And another one backs to a busy road, which will affect the days on the market.
Yeah.
So there's a few outliers that are just sitting because of that. But the ones that are in a, good location and were priced appropriately to begin with, they're selling within 27 days.
Yeah. And there's still a lot of cash people around too, I've noticed, because I had 3 closings last month. 2 of them were cash.
Got it.
But, the loans are harder to come by.
It's true. And what was interesting? I was talking to a listing agent as I was working on a market analysis for another home. And she said, yes, my clients we had 2 offers, but they took the cash one, and they took a price that was $25,000 less, but it was cash.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. They don't want to take a chance on the loan. Yeah. Well.
So the psychology is different this year.
Yeah.
I would say.
Right.
Where people were like, I want the highest number no matter what, because I'm going to get it. And buyers were like, well, I'll bring whatever difference that is to get it. It's not happening in that same way, but sales are still good. And we're still in a more normalized seller's market. That's just what's happening.
Right.
So
Yeah, I hope we get some more listings coming up in the next few months. I'm sure we will.
We will.
With military, coming and going, like everyone's kind of getting their orders and getting set now. So
yes,
hopefully we'll get some exciting things coming on the market soon.
I think we will. And, pricing, let's talk about where the average price was in March. It's $523,972. So it went up 4.7% from February, which was right at 500. So we saw that jump last year as well. It happened. The average price, though, is down from 2022 by nearly 3%.
That's not too bad.
It's not too bad. So it was at 523,972 versus in 2022, 539,684.
Okay.
The median price of homes is down 4.5%. Excuse me, let me correct that, 3.2% from 2022 versus 2023 of March. So right now, the median price is at 460. That was March's numbers. And last March of 2022, it was 475. So down 3.2%.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, it's not the end of the world, is it?
No, we're usually in the middle anyway here. In the middle of the country and in the middle. We don't have the high and the lows, but kind of
people who
ebbs and flows.
People who are waiting like for the bottom to just drop, I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't either.
We just don't have the inventory.
Right.
So, Shawna, talk about this.
Okay.
About something that you're so good at is prepping homes for sale, helping people get ready for this market. Talk about spring and what that means as far as getting your home ready. What are some things you would recommend?
Well, a quick, easy thing to do that's inexpensive is remulching your beds in the front and in the yard and just making sure the yard is looking nice now that spring's coming. Fresh coat of paint goes a long way. In this market, I wouldn't do a ton of expensive things but if you can do some quick updates that refresh the place, I think that's key. Light staging, decluttering, the usual things you would typically do, but, make sure you focus on the outside this time of year because people don't want to look at a house and go, oh, look at all this yard work. It's overwhelming. So
true.
If you can get someone in to clean up, I think that's a good thing.
You know what's funny? You and I walked through a home about a week ago or so. And the first thing I noticed, the home inside, it wasn't dirty per se, but it was so lackluster because the windows were so dirty.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. That's a good point.
It's
Clean
like,
those windows.
Clean them because you even see them in the marketing
you do.
Photos.
They'll be dirty in the pictures. And it's expensive to do if you hire it out. I find, prices have gone up in that. But it's worth spending it. And
it's worth it.
If you're like me, you just go to Home Depot and get a 16-foot extension pole and get all your stuff and spend a few hours. I don't know.
I'm not like you, girl.
You pay one way or another.
I just literally fell off of my vanity this last week trying to get a conditioner for Gordon off of the top shelf of our cabinet. So for me to clean a window, I think it would be lethal.
If he was only bald, you wouldn't have had that problem.
So bad. That's so bad.
Anyway.
We love you, Gordon. It's worth it. I hurt myself. He said, go get the stool. And I was like, no way. I'm just jumping. I'm going to get this. I can do it. And yeah, what came out of my mouth was not nice or pretty or kind.
Well,
it's confession time.
Every now and then.
So if you don't do the windows yourself, don't condemn yourself because I can't do them myself.
Just hire it out.
But it is important.
Yeah.
I think cleanliness of a home. Some people can't afford to put, everything new, as you were saying. But imagine even if a car that you're selling that's not brand new is completely detailed and clean. The perception in the buyer market is that it's been maintained.
Well cared for.
Exactly.
Well loved.
And I see this is the time of year to get your furnace cleaned and serviced. It's your time of year to have the water heater looked at and fix things like that. It's just so important.
It is.
I think so. I think buyers, they're going to pay more when they feel like a home was not neglected and things are just beautiful. So, I mean, they can do a few things in this market. They know that they may have to, but I think do what you can do as a seller.
Pride of ownership goes a long way.
100%. And stay away from the duck pond if you don't want to get scarred during this process.
Yeah, let the ducks do their thing.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining, and we cannot wait to connect with you on the next episode. And it's so fun to be in here and in this process with you, Shawna.
Me too.
We'll catch you next time.
See you guys.